The idea that people died after accessing Egyptian pharaohs' tombs is often linked to the so-called curse of the pharaohs, a legend suggesting that those who disturb the tombs of ancient rulers will face misfortune or death. While many of these deaths can be explained by natural causes, accidents, or infections, some remain the subject of speculation. Here's a list of notable individuals who died after being involved in the discovery or excavation of Egyptian tombs. George Edward Stanhope Molyneux Herbert, the 5th Earl of Carnarvon, was a wealthy British aristocrat and avid Egyptology enthusiast. Born in 1866, he was passionate about adventure and exploration. After a near-fatal car accident in 1901 left him in fragile health, doctors advised him to seek a warm climate. This led him to Egypt, where he developed a fascination with ancient artifacts and tomb hunting. In 1907, Carnarvon began funding archaeological digs in the Valley of the Kings. His most significant contribution to history was his partnership with Howard Carter, the British archaeologist whose expertise and dedication would lead to the greatest discovery in Egyptology, the tomb of King Tutankhamun, KV 62. For years, Carter and Carnarvon searched fruitlessly for Tutankhamun's tomb. By 1922, Carnarvon was running out of patience and money, but Carter convinced him to finance one final season of excavation. This gamble paid off spectacularly on November 4, 1922, when Carter's team discovered the steps leading to the sealed entrance of Tutankhamun's tomb. On November 26, 1922, Carter, Carnarvon, and a small team entered the tomb for the first time. Inside, they found a dazzling array of treasures, including golden chariots, statues, jewelry, and Tutankhamun's intact sarcophagus, a discovery that made headlines worldwide. Just a few months later, in April 1923, Lord Carnarvon suddenly fell ill while staying at the Winter Palace Hotel in Luxor. His health deteriorated rapidly, and on April 5, 1923, he died at the age of 56. His official cause of death was blood poisoning, septicemia, which developed from an infected mosquito bite on his cheek that he had accidentally aggravated while shaving. Coincidentally, at the moment of his death, a power blackout reportedly occurred in Cairo, and his dog, Susie, howled before mysteriously dropping dead in England. Newspapers quickly sensationalized these events, fueling rumors of an ancient curse. The notion that Carnarvon had fallen victim to a supernatural punishment for disturbing the tomb spread rapidly, captivating the public imagination. Some claimed an inscription near the tomb warned, "Death shall come on swift wings to him who disturbs the peace of the king." The tomb, sealed for over 3,000 years, could have contained ancient bacteria, mold, or fungal spores. Aspergillus, a toxic mold found in tombs, can cause respiratory infections, potentially fatal for someone with compromised health. Arthur Mace was a respected British Egyptologist, conservator, and key member of Howard Carter's team during the excavation of Tutankhamun's tomb, KV 62. Born in 1874 into an academically inclined family, he studied at Oxford University before joining archaeological projects in Egypt. Before working on Tutankhamun's tomb, Mace had already established himself as an expert in preserving ancient artifacts. His work at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York focused on Egyptian antiquities, making him an essential member of Carter's team. Mace played a crucial role in the delicate process of cataloging and conserving the objects found in the tomb. 1. Conserving ancient treasures. Many artifacts were in a fragile state, requiring careful restoration. Mace was responsible for stabilizing deteriorating materials, especially delicate wooden and textile objects. Deciphering and recording artifacts. 2. As an experienced archaeologist, Mace helped document and study inscriptions on objects. His knowledge of ancient Egyptian craftsmanship allowed him to identify and describe items accurately. Close collaboration with Howard Carter. Mace worked closely with Howard Carter in organizing the massive discovery. He co-authored The Tomb of Tutankhamun, 1923, with Carter, helping publish the first official accounts of the find. Shortly after working in the tomb, Arthur Mace's health began to deteriorate rapidly. Mace began suffering from fatigue, weakness, and paralysis. His condition worsened over time, forcing him to return to England to seek medical treatment. He became bedridden and unable to work, a drastic decline for an otherwise healthy man. By April 1928, he had passed away at just 54 years old. Many linked Mace's mysterious illness to the Curse of Tutankhamun, believing that his exposure to the tomb's artifacts led to his demise. His symptoms mirrored those of Lord Carnarvon, who had also succumbed to illness after the excavation. Richard Bethell, born in 1883, was a British archaeologist and the personal secretary of Howard Carter, the man who discovered King Tutankhamun's tomb in 1922. As Carter's assistant, Bethell was one of the first people to enter the sealed tomb and handle its priceless artifacts, making him a key figure in the excavation process. His death in 1929 added to the growing fear of the so-called Curse of the Pharaohs, a superstition suggesting that those who disturbed the tomb of King Tut would suffer untimely and mysterious deaths. As Carter's secretary, Bethell was responsible for documenting, cataloging, and organizing the vast treasures found in the tomb. Some of his key duties included recording detailed descriptions of the artifacts, handling and securing ancient objects for transportation, assisting Carter in examining the intricately preserved burial chamber of the young pharaoh. Bethell's direct contact with the relics fueled later speculation that he had fallen victim to the infamous curse. On November 15, 1929, Richard Bethell was found dead under suspicious circumstances at the Bath Club in London, a prestigious gentleman's club. His body was discovered on his bed, and early reports suggested that he had died from asphyxiation. Some accounts suggested that he had been smothered to death, possibly murdered. Others claimed it was a suicide, though no clear motive was ever found. A few reports noted no signs of struggle, leaving the exact cause of his death uncertain and highly debated. Richard Bethell's untimely demise occurred just 7 years after the opening of King Tut's tomb, and he was one of several individuals linked to the excavation who died under bizarre circumstances. This led to speculation that he had been cursed for disturbing the tomb of the boy king. The British press fueled the hysteria, with newspapers publishing headlines suggesting that Bethell had been the latest victim of Tutankhamun's wrath. Just a few months after Richard Bethell's death, his father, Lord Westbury, also died under strange circumstances. On February 20, 1930, Lord Westbury jumped from a 7th-floor window in London. In his home, several artifacts from King Tut's tomb were reportedly found. Before his death, he allegedly complained about strange misfortunes since his son's passing. This further cemented the idea that the curse was real. Regardless of the truth, Richard Bethell's sudden and eerie death remains one of the many mysteries surrounding the discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb. Prince Ali Kamel Fahmy Bey, born in 1901, was an Egyptian aristocrat and businessman who became known not for his contributions to Egyptology, but for his violent and scandalous death. He was a wealthy prince from a prominent Egyptian family, known for his lavish lifestyle and marriage to Marguerite Alibert, a French socialite with a dark past. Though he had no direct involvement in the excavation of King Tutankhamun's tomb, his sudden and brutal death in 1923, the same year Lord Carnarvon died, was later linked by some to the legendary Pharaoh's curse. On July 10, 1923, Prince Ali Kamel Fahmy Bey was shot and killed by his wife, Marguerite Alibert, in the Savoy Hotel in London. The shocking murder became an international scandal as it involved royalty, betrayal, and violence. The prince had married Marguerite Alibert in 1922, just months before the opening of Tutankhamun's tomb in November of that year. Their marriage quickly turned into a nightmare, with allegations of physical abuse, control, and violent arguments. On the night of July 10, 1923, Marguerite fatally shot him 3 times at close range in their hotel suite. She claimed it was self-defense, alleging that Ali had been violent and abusive toward her. The case made headlines worldwide, and to the shock of many, Marguerite was acquitted of all charges in a controversial trial in 1923. At first glance, Prince Ali Kamel Fahmy Bey's murder seemed unrelated to Tutankhamun's tomb. However, a few eerie coincidences led some to associate his death with the curse. He died in 1923, the same year that Lord Carnarvon, the first victim of the supposed curse, also mysteriously died. As an Egyptian prince, some speculated that his ancestral ties to Egypt's ancient rulers could have angered the spirits. His violent death happened within months of the tomb's opening, fueling rumors that anyone with Egyptian royal blood might have been at risk. Howard Carter was a British archaeologist and Egyptologist, best known for discovering the tomb of Pharaoh Tutankhamun in 1922. His meticulous work and dedication to uncovering Egypt's ancient past cemented his legacy in archaeological history. Carter was born in Kensington, London in 1874. His father, Samuel Carter, was an artist, which influenced Howard's keen eye for detail. He displayed an early interest in ancient Egypt and, at the age of 17, was hired by the Egypt Exploration Fund to assist in recording tomb paintings. His skill as an artist and his ability to meticulously document findings quickly earned him recognition in the field. By the early 1900s, Carter was already an experienced excavator. He worked under the guidance of renowned archaeologists such as Flinders Petrie and Gaston Maspero. In 1907, he was introduced to George Herbert, 5th Earl of Carnarvon, an aristocrat and enthusiastic Egyptology patron who would later fund Carter's most significant discovery. For years, Carter and Carnarvon searched the Valley of the Kings for undiscovered royal tombs. After a long and expensive search, Carnarvon was on the verge of stopping the funding. However, in November 1922, Carter's team discovered a step cut into the rock beneath the remains of ancient workers' huts. It led to a sealed doorway bearing the insignia of Tutankhamun. On November 26, 1922, Carter famously made a small hole in the tomb's entrance and peered inside with a candle. When Carnarvon asked what he saw, Carter replied, "Wonderful things." Inside, they found the nearly intact burial chamber of Tutankhamun, filled with gold, jewelry, chariots, and statues, one of the greatest discoveries in Egyptology. Despite the ominous rumors surrounding the curse of the pharaohs, Howard Carter outlived many of his contemporaries, including Lord Carnarvon, who had funded his expedition. However, in his later years, Carter's health began to decline. On March 2, 1939, Howard Carter succumbed to complications from Hodgkin's lymphoma at the age of 64. His passing marked the end of one of the most remarkable careers in archaeology. Carter was buried in Putney Vale Cemetery, London. His simple gravestone bears an inscription in reference to the famous tomb he uncovered, quoting words found on Tutankhamun's burial chamber. "May your spirit live. May you spend millions of years, you who love Thebes, sitting with your face to the north wind, your eyes beholding happiness." Unlike the tragic and mysterious deaths of some who were associated with the tomb's opening, Carter's death was not sudden or unusual. However, some still speculate that his long battle with illness was a delayed effect of the curse of the pharaohs. The deaths of Lord Carnarvon, Arthur Mace, Richard Bethell, Prince Ali Kamel Fahmy Bey, and Howard Carter all share eerie connections to the discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb. Were these merely coincidences, or was the pharaoh's curse at work, punishing those who disturbed the boy king's final resting place? From mysterious illnesses to violent deaths and suicides, the stories surrounding these individuals continue to fuel speculation and intrigue. Whether you believe in the supernatural, historical explanations, or just strange coincidences, there's no denying that the curse of King Tut remains one of the most chilling legends in archaeology. But what do you think? Was there really a curse, or were these deaths simply tragic misfortunes? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into history's mysteries, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more fascinating stories from the past. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next Fireside Story.